Welcome to this week's episode of the Last Best Beer Show. This is Ryan Newhouse, your host, and I am almost nearly fully recovered from Missoula Craft Beer Week. It's probably going to take a while, but I've had so much fun. We had so many events going on last week, and I know I've seen some of you there, so it was a pleasure to meet some of you guys and gals and fellow beer lovers. And we're going to get right back into our lovely routine of having a great beer show for you every week here on Friday and Saturday nights. And I want to just launch in with some of the local news because there's, we did a lot for Missoula Craft Beer Week, but there's a lot of good beer out there to be had for sure. Draftworks, I'm very excited about this one. Draftworks just tapped their Citra Mafia Smash Triple IPA. Now, Smash stands for single malt and single hop beer. So they use one grain and one type of hop. And this is a triple IPA, pretty high alcohol, 225 IBUs. And if anybody was with me at trivia down at the Dram Shop last Tuesday night with Draftworks, you would know what an IBU is. And if you weren't, I'll tell you now, it's an international bittering unit. So definitely get down to Draftworks and try this glass of tastiness. I love it. I'm really excited that they brought this back. And then we had Garden City Brewfest. Just to give you a little recap, about 4,000 glasses were sold. Maybe 5,500 people were down there. And it was a judged contest for sure. Lots of beers were sampled and judged on by the Zoo City Zimmergist, our local homebrew group, and definitely had Phillipsburg coming out with several awards. They won for their Rope Swing Saison for Best Saison and Belgian Beer, which was also the winner of the Best Montana Beer and Best of Show. And we had some really nice ones. I'll run down the list real quick. Best Lager came from Upslope out of Colorado. Best Bock was Bayern's Dump Truck. Best Wheat was Front Brewing Company out of Great Falls with their Honey Weizen. And the best IPA was Elysian Brewing Space Dust. Best Pale Ale was the Grunion Pale Ale, a fantastic beer. Best Stout Porter was Missoula Brewing Company's Fortress Rock Imperial Stout. Missoula Brewing Company also won for Mount Jumbo Grapefruit, which was their best fruit beer. Best Scottish beer came from Chip Off the Old Scotch out of Bowser. So another Great Falls beer coming down and doing very well. But speaking of Phillipsburg, they were at the CBC, which is the Craft Beer Cup, which is also the World Beer Cup. It's a global beer competition that evaluates beers from around the world and recognizes the most outstanding. Phillipsburg Brewing Company won a silver medal for their Haybag Hefeweizen, beautiful, grassy, citrusy ale. Has a special yeast strain that really gives its signature cloudiness, but an incredible taste as well. So absolutely excited. That was the only Montana-made beer to place in this impressive competition that had almost 6,600 entries from 1,907 different breweries in 55 different countries. So definitely give them a shout out and try a glass of Haybag Hefeweizen. Well, we got a cool show today. I have a very special guest here today. Jevin Ehler. Yes, I got it right.
Hi, Ryan.
How are you?
I'm doing very wonderfully, but more importantly, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I think I've talked enough already that I need a beer. That's the kind of feeling I get. You know?
I have that feeling as soon as I wake up most days.
Oh, good. I knew we were kindred spirits here.
I think so. I think I found the right show, most definitely.
You did. Well, Jevin, you are the Montana sales rep for Sierra Nevada Brewing Company.
That is right.
Yes.
So I actually live here in Missoula, but I cover the state of Montana.
That's a big state.
It is. It is. In terms of size, a big state, but in terms of population, not so big.
True.
So I get a lot of windshield time, a lot of time to myself to think about things. It's good. It's great. I love it. Beautiful state.
It is. And what I like about us being not so populated, it just means more beer for less people.
And it's amazing how much beer we drink in this state considering how many mouths there are.
Yes. How does, if you know, can you give me a little comparison how Sierra Nevada specifically does compared to some other states? Are we are we growing rapidly, or do we consume a lot of beer?
We're definitely growing. I am actually the first Montana-specific person for Sierra Nevada, and kind of their benchmark for when they hire someone is when they kind of reach that 100,000 case mark.
Okay.
So we just did that in 2015.
100,000 cases of delicious Sierra Nevada.
Of Sierra Nevada just here in Montana for 2015. So we just went over that this past year. They figured they should probably hire someone for Montana, and I feel very lucky to be that person here.
Well, you're obviously the most qualified.
Well,
you're the most experienced beer drinker, maybe.
I do a lot of that. That is for sure. I drink a lot of beer. Worked for a couple of breweries before Sierra Nevada, and this is definitely the big dogs. But, Montana has very community feel. It's kind of taken me in this past week. It's been so much fun. Was Missoula Craft Beer Week. Was actually at the trivia night. My team was leading the entire night until the last round.
Yes.
Still a little upset about that. But it's just been a lot of fun being here.
Good. And it was a good crowd that night. I mean, what I liked about your team and who you were sitting next to, it's like all different breweries represented, home brewing crowd, just good people.
It was great. It's wonderful to see all, representatives from all different breweries around town. You don't see that, in every city. So it's something special about Missoula, and I think Montana in general. That's
true. That's what I think. We like good beer. And absolutely. If it comes from our local source, the one down the road or across town or across the state or in another state, we just like good beer.
Yeah, and I think that's important. I think we're kind of starting to see, especially the consumer, becoming more educated. And you're seeing kind of some of the other bigger breweries coming in. I know Firestone Walker recently came in.
Yep.
Ballast Point. It's kind of some of those other big breweries, and I think our palates are going to become more refined. And we also have amazing local beers. So I think we're just really lucky in those terms as well. You do.
And I'll say this on your behalf, or on Sierra Nevada's behalf. I mean, you guys were here first, really. As far as the out-of-state ones come, you invested in Montana. You knew that we had good beer drinkers here, that people that really appreciated it. And I know for years I would see 6-packs of Sierra Pale Ale or Torpedo along those lines. I mean, people were just as happy to bring that as any other beer.
Yeah, and I think also something that Sierra saw in Montana was the canning market. Montana's unique in the fact that consumers are already used to cans because a lot of the breweries have been canning for a while now.
Yep.
And that's very unique for Montana. So in terms of getting consumers used to cans, I think Colorado's another state, but Montana is kind of definitely ahead of the curve in that aspect because we're recreational and we want to be out and we don't want to have that glass.
Yep.
Now we can't recycle it, things like that. So that was definitely a push for Sierra to be out here, and we have, a few different packages available in cans. So that's, good for the state.
Let's talk about some of the beers that Sierra Nevada is offering our fine Montana drinkers here.
Yeah, well, actually, our newest year-round offering, Otravez, speaking of the World Beer Cup, actually just won a gold for session beer. So
outstanding.
It's actually a Goza style, which is a German sour wheat beer. We added grapefruit and prickly pear cactus. It's traditionally known for having a little bit of salt, salinity to it, and coriander, and we do have those aspects in it as well. 4.5%, super refreshing, tart, different than the typical hop-forward Sierra Nevada beers.
Yep.
I'm absolutely loving that. And we have that in the cans. Big honor to receive that award this past weekend. I'm excited to kind of see what it does in the market.
Yep.
It's been fun sampling people on it and seeing what they think of it because it is so different for Sierra Nevada. But, I mean, how many IPAs can you make, I think is what it comes down to. So
no doubt. And I was fortunate when I was at Garden City Brew Fest on Saturday, where our tent was set up for Missoula Craft Beer Week, was directly across from your tap handle of Otravez there. And
I saw that.
It's so good. And I went there several times to try that, and it was absolutely perfect because it was a warm day, hot. It was absolutely refreshing, like you said. But people were excited to see this.
Yeah, I think so. And to try something so different and be able to tell a story about it, I think that's one of my big favorite things about beer in general is when it has a story. And for this beer especially, you have to lead people through it. I mean, I remember, hearing stories about when Pale Ale first came out and it was too hoppy for people.
Right.
And now it's, not hoppy at all. And I think this beer, some people are shocked about how tart it is. And I love sour beers. So for me, it's not really sour. I think it's tart, but it's not shocking to me. But for some people, it is. So being able to talk to them about the souring process and how this is different than a barrel-aged sour, whatnot, it's just fun. It's why I'm in beer, and I love it. So I think we're going to see a lot more gozes come out. I'm already seeing a lot more, just being aware of it. It's just so much fun. Oh,
it is. And I do always look for that style. I've had some of the more iconic ones like Westbrook. That's been a popular one as well.
Anderson Valley,
yes.
I know.
Yep.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. Distilled did a really crazy one recently.
The Anderson Valley in the purple can.
Yep.
With it. Oh, man. That's what I usually run over to Spokane and grab.
Yeah.
So
we
I
gotta
like
get
that
those
style.
here. We gotta get them here.
We do. We do.
Yes.
But Sierra Nevada, what I've always respected about it is you've got some incredible staples, flagships. You've large format bottles of specialty beers, specialty releases.
Definitely.
But you're also you're not really resting on your laurels. You're coming out with new beers. You have something now. It's this Base Camp, probably, or Beer Camp. Beer Camp now, and it's
beer camp, the term in general, I think can be confusing to a lot of people because we used it in such, a lot of different ways. We have our spring seasonal series, which is beer camp, and this year was our tropical IPA, and that's always comes from, we invite consumers, different people to come through the brewery, and they can actually make a pilot batch of beer at the brewery. And then ones that we really like, we actually turn it into a seasonal every year. So this past year was tropical IPA. Awesome beer. One of my favorite IPAs I think we've done in a long time. And then also we have a Beer Camp Across America collaboration that we did 2 years ago, and we brought it back for this year. And that's in conjunction with we're doing a host of music and beer festivals across the country, the closest being actually in Seattle on June 11th to go along with this.
Okay.
But we released a 12-pack. It's actually 6 different beers. We did it was actually a super group mentality. So we looked at 6 different breweries across the country, and we asked them, what other breweries would you like to collaborate? And so we had the head of the super group, and they asked 4 other breweries to be along with that group, then one of our brewers from Sierra Nevada, and let them brew beers. So it's 2 of every beer in the 12-pack. We have them out around town right now. I brought you some so you can enjoy some later.
Oh, thank you.
I'm surprised we didn't pop one out now. But some really interesting styles. There's like a Saison in there that has black tea and melon, just some really interesting things. And especially being here in Montana, a lot of breweries that you can't, get in Montana, Dogfish Head. There's some Lost Abbey, Trillium, some of those that... you kind of have to go back and enjoy.
Yeah,
so.
And I love that. We were talking about this a little bit earlier, but the idea that collaborative effort is to bring in other little bits of tastes of these other breweries that we don't get on a regular.
Yeah, and that's, I think, really what beer should be about. And, when Ken started the brewery, his garage 35, 36 years ago, what he always wanted to do. So I think it's really cool. And, when I started working for Sierra, I never thought I'd work for a big brewery, but Sierra was the only one I said I'd work for. So, and it's because of little things like this. So we're actually going to be having a kind of a tap takeover, calling it Beer Camp Across Missoula at the Rhino. It's going to be June 4th and 5th from noon to 7 on each of those days. And we're inviting a lot of the local breweries from Missoula as well to come in and kind of bring some of their special brews. Very cool. A lot of them have already agreed. We're going to get some posters up, make more announcements later. With Brad from the Rhino, but we're really excited about it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That's a great place for it.
Of course.
One
of the best selections in town, and he's always been a huge supporter of beer and getting beer in the city. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, we'll certainly keep that on our Facebook page as well. You can follow the Last Best Beer Show. You'll probably find me down there as well on both of those days.
I would definitely hope so.
That's incredible. I have to do one little segue into a personal story. I actually got to meet Ken Gersman and his son.
Oh, really?
I met him twice, actually. Once earlier this year. End of last year, and then the year before, once in San Diego, and then once in Asheville, North Carolina, which is the site of the new brewery that you have on the East Coast. And I got to tour that thing, and it was
I haven't even done that yet.
Jaw-dropping. Beautiful. It was like Disney World when you ride up there. It's really impressive.
That's amazing. How was it? How was meeting Ken?
Just down to earth, and he threw us a beautiful barbecue, and I just got to sit there and talk with him, just for several minutes, and he was very kind, and his son too, and. I mean,
he's just so soft spoken. I think I expected more of like a Sam Dogfish Head personality, some of that. But he's just kind of this humble, soft spoken, really intelligent, hardworking guy.
Yeah. And that type of demeanor to me in general in people allows that passion to show through.
Definitely.
Where it's not, the presence isn't overtaking what they actually do. It's not a persona. And it was great. It was a perfect compliment.
I didn't know that. That's so wonderful.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. But so we're excited. We're gonna put this on our radar for June 4th and 5th. You said 12 to 7.
Yeah, both days.
Yeah, both days.
It'll be fun. We'll have a tent outside and just be pouring. Yeah, we'll have all 6 beers on draft. A couple other special ones. Dunkel Weizenbach we're bringing. Another 6 Rights IPA, and then a bunch of local special beers.
Awesome. Well, gentlemen, thanks so much for coming down and bringing beer and talking beer. And get the Ultra Phase, get the beer camp across America in 12-pack, and come on out to the Rhino.
Look forward to seeing y'all.
All right, thanks.
Love craft beer and want to learn how to brew your own? Take this online course to get insider tips from Montana brewers and top secret recipes for local favorites.
Welcome back to the Last Best Beer Show. This is Ryan Newhouse, and I am excited to bring this show to you every week. Here you'll hear it on Newstalk KGVO, Friday nights 10 p.m., Saturdays at 7 p.m. So we always like to take a few minutes to talk about some national news in the great big wide beer world. And this one came hot off the press this week. It is election season. I'm sure everybody knows everywhere. So our giants of beer, Budweiser, aka InBev, are deciding that they want to actually temporarily change their name, and it's not going to be Budweiser if they get their way. They want to rebrand themselves as America. Yes, just the name America. So instead of ordering a Budweiser, you're going to order America. They're going to have some taglines, of course, which we've heard: liberty and justice for all, and indivisible since 1776. So, yes, they've applied for a label approval through the Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau, and it's not approved. It's not a for sure thing. And I think, obviously, they're thinking that they can kind of capitalize on this. Now, I don't know. I don't know if that is really going to do anything if you just call it by something else. But I will say this, without naming names, it sure seems that this election season could drive one to drink a little extra. So whether or not that's going to be an America, a Budweiser, or a silver medal winning beer from Phillipsburg called Hayback Hefeweizen, we'll see. But if this goes through, we'll keep you posted. We'll put a link on our Facebook as well. So we're going to get right in. Next segment, we usually do a little bit of beer and food talk. This one is a little bit of a stretch out there. But we're going to be talking to our good friends over in Bozeman, who wisely are canning beer for a lot of Montana breweries. So let's jump over there and talk to them. This week I've got on the phone with me Tony Rendell, who is the owner and founder and do-it-all for Montana Canning Company out of the Bozeman area. Is that correct, Tony?
Yes, sir. Actually, it's the Livingston side of the pass.
Thank you. Livingston, yes. There is a clear distinction there because I was just over in that area in Bozeman and Livingston for spring break this past month here, and got to hang out in the area. So thank you for that. But what you do is go to breweries and help them get their beer in cans. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
So I am a mobile canning line. I drive around the state of Montana canning breweries beer. Awesome. And cider. Now, are you working 100% with Montana breweries, or do you go out of state for anything? I have not went out of state yet. Okay. I find that there's plenty of work within the state of Montana. Yes. Good. We've got some of the best breweries making some of the best beer. Just trying to get more beer out there for people to drink. Great. I don't disagree with that at all. We definitely have some of the best beer, and we have a lot of breweries. So I could imagine that you're pretty busy. Maybe give us a little short list of some of the beer we can find in your short list. start with up north, eastern side of the state, Meadowlark Brewing Company.
Yes.
Right now they've got a rotator out, Teddy Roosevelt American Badass.
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys can find that over in your area.
Yes, we can. It's a really awesome can. Good beer.
We work with those wonderful guys up there. We work with Angry Hank Billings.
Okay.
He's going through some growth process before we can really get anything out.
Mm-hmm.
It's available only in his tap room. And then White Dog in Bozeman. We're doing 4 different kinds of beer for them. We do 406. Hot Punch IPA was, we did that right around the first of the year, end of last year. Longhorn Cider, we can all their products. You can find them in Town Pump, all those kind of good places. And then we head up to Mighty Mo in Great Falls.
Excellent. Yes.
And they're the Helena Great Falls market.
Okay. Yep. Now, of those that I'm aware of, that I know that those are 12-ounce and 16-ounce cans. So you're doing both sizes, right?
Yes, sir. I regularly change my line out between 12 and 16. I have yet to find a brewery that will do both 12 and 16 ounce.
Ah, right. I don't know if I can name one myself that is doing.
You know, places do bomber bottles and 16-ounce bottles, so I don't think it's a far stretch.
Yeah. They're sometimes I'm only looking for a 12-ounce beer, and size will depend. Sometimes I want that 4-pack. I want a full pint. So,
and I think that certain beers blend better to certain size containers.
Agree. Yeah.
In the summertime, it's hot. I don't want my beer getting warm. I'll dig into a 12-ounce way before 16-ounce.
Yes. So when did you get the idea to start this, and when did it actually get off the ground?
The idea was probably formed, I'm a year into business, and I worked on the business plan for a year and a half, 2 years. So it got off the ground May of last year.
May of last year, coming up on, you're in your 1 year. Happy birthday.
Well, thank you. I took and I haven't updated a picture of how many cans I've done, but last count I think it was 14 different actual labels.
14 different labels you put in cans. Oh, outstanding.
Exactly. It's great for the people.
Yes. If I was reading right, your capacity production volume is about maybe up to a case a minute. Is that how fast your machine can go? 20 to 24 cans?
At Madison River, we were running 36, 37 cans a minute. So I'm running Wild Goose lineal canning line. I only run a 2-head filler. So we were pouring 36, 37. We probably could have went faster, but like a sewing machine, the faster you go, the more chance you have of mess up and breakage. And
sure.
So there's a fine line there. But yeah, one day at Madison River, I think we did 16,008 cans in a 7-hour day.
Wow. That's a little faster than I can drink them, but I'll get started on it.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I like those guys. I was just at Madison River when I was over there for spring break and meeting with Bruce. And
they're doing some awesome things, and I'm happy to have canned a product for them.
Yeah.
That's huge.
How are you getting these cans to them? With all the labeling, do you work with a blank can and then label, or?
So I do a variety of both. Certain places, Meadowlark, for instance, they purchase printed cans.
Okay.
And then they wanted to do Teddy Roosevelt American Badass in a small run. And feasibility is not good for a run of 20,000 cans and having to get them printed. And you have to buy in such volume that no, I do. I run the gamut.
Okay. Yep. It's aluminum's a little, we're reading a little bit about aluminum shortage possibly, so those minimum orders are getting higher and higher for some of the brewing companies.
It is. It's true. And, all these plants, they're running, my can supplier, they're running at maximum capacity plus.
Okay.
And they're trying to help everybody that they can. And as far as I know, on 12 ounce, you're fairly decent on 16 ounce, that's where the squeeze really starts.
Okay. That's what it is. Well,
it hasn't affected me at all, but
sure. Especially if they are wanting pre-printed cans, like you were just pointing out, like it's quite a commitment.
We just got Mighty Mo printed cans. They do Smoke Jumper and Damn Fog in printed cans, 16 ounce.
Okay. Thanks. What's the future hold for you? What do you see in year 2 and 3 for your business?
Oh man, that's a hard question. My growth has been painful so far, needless to say. I can't grow at a capacity in which my services are what I project needed. It's been difficult. A lot of learning. Trial by fire, trial by air. It's a hard question to answer, but I am looking at the option of putting line 2 on coming into fall.
Okay.
So growing with the market, as you see the market grow, and customer service is my number one for these brewers and breweries. When that beer is done, somebody needs to be there to be able to package it. And, I won't take someone on that I can't facilitate that happening.
Okay. Excellent. Well, thank you so much. If maybe there's a brewery out there that's listening to this episode, what's the best way for them to at least get a hold of you and find out a little bit more about what you're doing?
Send me an email at mtcanningco@gmail.com. At gmail.com, and look me up on Facebook. My goal is to educate the public, one can at a time.
Beautiful. Way to do it. Well, Tony, thanks so much for your time, and we really appreciate having you on the show.
Absolutely. I sure appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for this week's episode of the Last Best Beer Show. We'll be back next week again talking about more good stuff with beer, but I want you to save the date. Once a month, we always bring you Business and Brews, and this month on May 18th, that's a Wednesday night at 5:30, we're going to have Business and Brews Masterpiece Growler at DraftWorks. Yes. So the idea is you get $20. It's going to cost $20. It gets you a growler, a fill, and all the paint supplies for you to pimp out your growler that night while hearing from local artists in Missoula that cover a variety of genres. So it's limited, I think, to about the first 50 people. We're going to have free food provided by our good friends at Burn Street Bistro. But yes, come on down May 18th, 5:30 DraftWorks. You can pay at the door. There will be a little bit of limited seating, and it'll be for sure a good time. So thanks again for joining us, and look forward to talking with you next week. But until then, Missoula, I say cheers.
Love craft beer and want to learn how to brew your own? Take this online course to get insider tips from Montana brewers and top secret recipes for local favorites.